What's going on, everyone? Dan Murphy here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about Bitcoin Cash and how it has been recently added to Coinbase as one of the new cryptocurrencies that people are going to be able to now buy and sell off of Coinbase. Now this is a really big step for Bitcoin Cash because just by being added to Coinbase, it has already seen a very significant uptrend in its price. And this has a lot to do with, in my opinion, just due to the fact that Coinbase in of itself is the most popular exchange. It gets a ton of volume. You have a lot of new users coming onto Coinbase every single day, thousands of new users. They've had hundreds of thousands of new users coming in the past few months. And these are all people that are, new to cryptocurrency, and now they're going to be exposed to Bitcoin Cash. Because I'm guessing for the most part, people are coming in, they're coming onto Coinbase because they heard about all the hype about Bitcoin. They want to buy some Bitcoin. Maybe they buy some Ethereum or Litecoin if they're feeling particularly spicy. But now they're going to see this fourth option of Bitcoin Cash that was not previously there. And I think that people seeing that Bitcoin Cash is, cheaper, relatively speaking, compared to Bitcoin, they might gravitate more towards Bitcoin Cash, just thinking that, I can buy more of this currency. I know Bitcoin, it's at $17,000. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll just buy some Bitcoin Cash. So, pretty interesting stuff. And now, I understand that Bitcoin Cash, it is somewhat controversial. There's a lot of mixed opinions about Bitcoin Cash. Some people like it. Some people think that it shouldn't be a thing. And me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the hard forks in general. I think that these hard forks, they're generally well-intentioned, but just by going through this process of creating a whole new, kind of like a spin-off of Bitcoin, it kind of dilutes the Bitcoin brand and kind of takes away from just kind of the validity of Bitcoin in general. But I can appreciate the idea of trying to improve upon the existing technology, because that's the main idea behind doing these hard forks. Bitcoin Cash was created to more or less address some of the scalability issues that we've been seeing with Bitcoin. Because, as much as I love Bitcoin, don't get me wrong, Bitcoin is great. It's still the most popular and most valuable cryptocurrency. But just looking at it objectively, you kind of have to acknowledge that Bitcoin, it does have some problems in of its own. It's not perfect. The main issues with Bitcoin come with its scalability. The fact that the Bitcoin network can only process somewhere around 4 transactions per second, and it takes about 10 minutes for any given transaction to be fully confirmed, and the fact that we have some pretty sizable transaction fees that really kind of interfere with Bitcoin being used in terms of wide-scale adoption with just everyday use, and microtransactions just not really being feasible due to the fact that you have these significant transaction fees, and takes about 10 minutes to confirm transactions. So Bitcoin Cash has been created as an alternative to actually be that wide-scale use cryptocurrency that will be able to actually handle the wide-scale use and adoption. So let's take a look at, real quick here, just looking at the price action on Bitcoin Cash as it's listed on Coinbase, we can see that we were relative stable levels for a while, past couple of months, kind of hovering around about 1,600 to 1,400, and then we have this massive run-up right about here where we jump up to 3,000, and then we peak somewhere around 4,000, and this run-up, it coincided directly with Bitcoin Cash being listed on Coinbase. And this doesn't really surprise me, considering that Coinbase is the most popular exchange where you have a ton of volume coming in, and now with Bitcoin Cash being added to Coinbase, there's just a much higher level of exposure to Bitcoin Cash that wasn't really there. And one thing I wanted to point out, let's just take a look at the Bitcoin Cash website. So if you go to bitcoincash.org, just a little more information about Bitcoin Cash as they describe it. So saying faster transaction times, lower fees. Okay, so Bitcoin Cash, fulfilling the original promise of Bitcoin as being the peer-to-peer electronic cash, merchants and users are now empowered with lower fees and reliable confirmations. Future shines brightly with unrestricted growth, global adoption, permissionless innovation, and decentralized development. So some of the features of Bitcoin Cash saying that there's going to be on-chain scalability. The Bitcoin Cash follows the Nakamoto roadmap, Satoshi Nakamoto being the original founder of Bitcoin, allegedly. Roadmap for global adoption with on-chain scaling. And as a first step, the block size limit has been made adjustable, increased to the default of 8 megabits. So basically what this is saying is when you're the original Bitcoin, it has the block size is at about 1 megabits, and the block size is basically the amount of transactions that can be processed per one given block on the blockchain. And the changes that were made with Bitcoin Cash was that they increased that block size from 1 megabit to 8 megabits. And by increasing the block size, what this does is it allows for a larger number of transactions to take place on the Bitcoin Cash network. And by doing this, it's kind of their way of trying to address that scalability issue, because when they increase the block size, it allows for a larger number of transactions to take place per second on the Bitcoin Cash network to basically to kind of handle that increase in trade volume that would come with increased use and wide-scale adoption of cryptocurrencies, because Bitcoin in its current state is not really in a position where it could handle wide-scale adoption and everyday use of cryptocurrencies for microtransactions and that sort of thing. It's really just more being used as a store of value. And it's still fine being used in that way. I still see Bitcoin increasing in value over time. People are still going to continue to buy and sell Bitcoin and use it as a store of value, but it's not really practical in terms of being used as an everyday currency and for microtransactions. Just doing some background research on Bitcoin Cash, I came across some pretty good articles. There's one here on Investopedia. I'm not going to read it all here word for word, but I will leave a link for this in the description. There's really good information about Bitcoin Cash. Also, another great article on Blockgeeks.com. I'll leave a link for that in the description. And but from looking at the different articles, I thought this particular article on Android Authority, it was kind of the most just the most concise and more or less simplified explanation. So what is Bitcoin Cash? How is it different from Bitcoin? I've kind of already explained this, but just another way of explaining this would be the difference between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin is that Bitcoin Cash has an increased block size limit of 8 megabits, 8 times more than that of Bitcoin, and this allows Bitcoin Cash to process more transactions per day or per second, which will result in speeding up processing times and reduce fees. So the transaction fees with Bitcoin Cash are going to come in around 20 cents. Now that is a significant improvement to the transaction fees that we're currently seeing right now with Bitcoin, because transaction fees with Bitcoin, they fluctuate over time. It really depends on the congestion on the Bitcoin network, but right now transaction fees are anywhere between like $15 to $30, which is really high for transaction fees. And at that level, it really starts to make you question the practicality of Bitcoin for smaller transactions, because if you're sending a small amount of money, like if you want to send someone $20, but the transaction fee is going to be $15 or $30, it doesn't really make sense for you to do that with Bitcoin. But with Bitcoin Cash, and your transaction fees are only 20 cents, it's way more feasible for you to send those smaller amounts. And so, I mean, I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good sign. And it doesn't have to be Bitcoin Cash. There are many other cryptocurrencies that are trying to address these scalability issues by having a larger number of transactions that can occur per second, and also by having smaller transaction fees. So I think we're definitely moving in the positive direction. Bitcoin Cash is just one of these cryptos that are trying to address these scalability issues, and they're kind of piggybacking off of the brand recognition of Bitcoin, and I think that they're going to get a lot more attention that way. And of course, by being added to Coinbase recently, you're going to see, I think there's going to be a lot more adoption of Bitcoin Cash, and it's pretty likely that the price is going to continue to go up. We might see a slight correction in the short term, considering we've had such a large run-up in a short period of time. I think it would be only natural to see, somewhat of a correction and some kind of a small pullback. But I think, in general, the more Bitcoin Cash is, more people buy it, the more wide-scale adoption we see. It's only going to run up the price. And I mean, it's only been a couple days on Coinbase, and I think that over time, it's very likely that the price is going to go up just because, being listed on such a highly reputable exchange like Coinbase that sees so much trade volume on, every day with new users coming in. It's just so many new buyers in the market, and now they have this new option of Bitcoin Cash that I think is going to be pretty appealing, especially when they understand some of the technical implications that Bitcoin Cash is bringing. And this brings me to another point I wanted to bring up, because what's been happening with Bitcoin Cash, where you see this massive run up in price that's coinciding with it being listed on Coinbase, is an example of something that I think you could call it like the Coinbase effect. And the Coinbase effect is simply that for any given cryptocurrency, if it gets listed on Coinbase, not only the news and the announcement leading up to it actually being listed, and the actual time and place when it actually gets listed, like when it gets listed for the first time on Coinbase, you're going to see an increase in the price. And I think it only makes sense, just again, because Coinbase being the most popular exchange, you have a ton of new exposure in the market, a ton of new potential buyers coming in, and just way more buying opportunities for people that have been, maybe they're being exposed to these cryptos for the first time. I'm willing to bet that a significant amount of the users on Coinbase they weren't even aware of Bitcoin Cash, but now that they see it's being listed on the website, they might do some research. They might end up thinking that it's a good idea and they want to buy some, or they might just buy it on impulse, just thinking that it's cheaper than Bitcoin, but it has Bitcoin in the name. I don't know, let's check it out. I mean, you never really know, but I definitely think that, just by being listed on Coinbase, that's kind of that could be your investment strategy. You can literally try and figure out which coins are going to be listed on Coinbase, invest in those coins ahead of time, and you're very, very likely to see a significant increase in those coins. And now, it doesn't just have to be guesswork, because there have also been announcements. Some of them are predictions that are more or less substantiated, but Coinbase has announced that they do plan on adding some additional altcoins on their platform. So this here is a website, or this is an article about coins that could be potentially listed on Coinbase. So what coins will be added to Coinbase? And now, not only in this article, I have found from other sources that some likely candidates of cryptos to be listed on Coinbase would be XRP, so Ripple. Ripple XRP has been announced by Coinbase. Also, Dash has been announced, and Monero has been announced. So these are three, and I mean, these are other candidates that the author of this article are suggesting would be some potential candidates to be listed on Coinbase. So you have IOTA, Qtum, also known as Quantum, OMG, Omise Go, Neo, Stratus, and Waves, and some other, they're calling them speculative outliers. But I feel like there's definitely ways where you could kind of, dig deep into Coinbase, maybe follow their news. I feel, they announced that they were gonna add Bitcoin Cash well ahead of time before they actually did it. So, as an investment strategy, you could identify some given cryptos that are going to be potentially listed on Coinbase in the future, and just in anticipation of them being listed on Coinbase, buy them before that happens. And then when they do get listed on Coinbase, you are very likely to see a significant run-up the same way we've seen with Bitcoin Cash. I think it'd be a very reasonable assumption that XRP, Ripple will be listed on Coinbase, also Dash, and Monero, because I'm pretty sure Coinbase themselves have announced this. I might have to look into it further, see if I can add some additional resources in the future. But I mean, those three coins are really popular in their own right. They've all had their time in being in the top 10 in terms of coin market cap. Some of them might be there right now. But I mean, you kind of just have to think, what are the most popular coins right now? What are the coins that have a real-world use case and already have some a high level of trade volume and adoption? There's a good chance that those coins are going to be listed on Coinbase. I think it's a very good case that this is going to happen with Ripple. It's been in the top 5 for a while. Right now we're sitting at top 4. And Ripple in of itself has had a very significant run-up in the past few days. We're currently at all-time highs of 99 cents. Same goes for Dash in terms of being a very likely candidate It's been in the top 10. And Monero right now it's sitting at 11, but it's been in the top 10 before. So these are, I mean, it's just really the top coins. So keep an eye out on them. Definitely watch the news, because the news, it definitely affects the price. It really does. I mean, the Bitcoin Cash news, I'm pretty sure that spiked the price, just the initial announcement that it was going to be listed on Coinbase, and then when it actually did happen, we saw a massive run-up. So watch the news, and yeah, just keep an eye out for any cryptos that are going to be listed on Coinbase. You can expect a pretty significant uptrend. I think that's fair to say. We've seen it happen with Bitcoin Cash, and I think it's only logical that we would see similar patterns happening with other cryptocurrencies that are going to be listed on Coinbase. So yeah, with that, I think I'm going to conclude this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this content. Maybe you learned something. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more cryptocurrency related content. So I'll be doing some more of that soon. And alright, hopefully had a great day, and peace out.